Hello, today we are in Manchester for the Louder Than Words Festival. In this episode we give you a flavour of what the festival is all about, and we meet some great people with some great stories. Enjoy the episode. So I'm a little bit embarrassed that I haven't been to this festival before, Neil.
Yeah, likewise, actually. I don't know whether that's on me that I didn't know it was here, because it's certainly something I think we probably would both have wanted to have come to if we'd have known about it, wouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll certainly be coming back next year. We've had a great time, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and there's been a really broad palette of speakers and interviewers, and actually it's been a really good vibe just hanging around the festival over the course of the past 3 days, actually. It's not often you get to interact probably quite so freely with authors, booksellers, musicians, other artists as well. Been real privilege to be here, actually.
It has, yeah. There's been, as you say, a real mix of people from kind of authors to performers, poets, DJs, you name it. They've been here, and as you say, we've just been wandering around capturing bits and pieces for the episode, and yeah, it's been a pleasure to do, hasn't it?
Yeah, and what we found is that whilst we've tried to be relatively unobtrusive, people have just accepted us and happily given us a couple of minutes of their time just to share their thoughts on it as well. Or, maybe that's just the nature of modern life, that somebody sees somebody with a camera or a microphone and kind of got to do this, there's no escaping it. But yeah, we're really grateful for people's contribution to this episode.
Yeah, and this year it's been held at the Inside Hotel, which is in central Manchester. Really nice location, easy to get to, and really nice setup inside, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's quite a cool hotel, and this First Street area has obviously been developed quite significantly since Home opened a few years ago, and we're sat here in one Tony Wilson Place, and there's lots of other sort of bars and lots of cool apartments open nearby, so it's a really good setting for it, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we're going to pick out some highlights of the events we attended, I think I'll start off with Steve Diggle, who kind of completes a trilogy of episodes for us, really, because we've of course had an interview with Andy McPherson of Revolution Studios, and Buzzcocks recorded it in his attic, didn't they?
Yeah, they recorded their demo, the first time they'd recorded themselves live in October 1976. And Steve Diggle played bass on that recording as well. So as you said, that was the first part of the Buzzcocks triptych.
And we'd built a very small studio in the attic of my flat.
Yeah. And the second one was, of course, our interview with Sir Malcolm Garrett, who designed a number of their covers and was at the forefront of their design.
Buzzcocks were indeed the first band that I had the great pleasure of working with and still work with.
Yeah, indeed, and it was really nice to hear him referenced by some of the speakers here over the course of the past couple of days as well, acknowledging his influence on them as cultural figures and graphic designers specifically. Yeah,
and the Steve Diggle event was really interesting. We picked up on a few things there, particularly his reasons for carrying on Buzzcocks, the new material. Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting talk.
Yeah, and I think I'm just intrigued by the journey that he's been on.
Part of what you were doing was you were showing that actually there's a kind of democracy in it, really, and everyone can do it when it's to a certain point. Well, you had talent, obviously, but I think that was part of it. You weren't going to sit around waiting for somebody to pluck you into stardom.
No, I mean, when we did the gig with the Sex Pistols, we did shows at the, the Electric Circus and stuff. But there was no ambition at all. It was like, let's just make this thing happen for the moment, That's how we got recorded and all this kind of thing. But we never ever sat down at a table thinking, if we do this and do that, we'll get to here. It was all in the moment, Yeah. But we realised we had a very distinctive sound with the music. We was also into experimental music like Can or the German bands and people like that. I had a box set of Stockhausen, yeah.
Actually, as well, and also I suppose it spoke to that period of time where if somebody perhaps didn't go down, I know, the grammar school route, for example, but chose they want to educate themselves as well. Actually, that's sort of whether it's autodidactic or whatever, but they weren't content with their lot, and equally when it came to music, they just wanted to have a go and build a different life. And I think he spoke very passionately and emotively about his journey.
Lots of bands will say that Leah Gallagher, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, we came to about this band really from people like U2, R.E.M., all of them. There's so many people I met and I got, used to listen to Buzzcocks. So it's a great compliment, really. We didn't set out to inspire anybody, but it's amazing how many we did. But it was a very unique sound. Somebody says to me, you guys kind of invented indie, really.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, Sex Pistols are a bit more like rock, and we had that quirky bit, which you kind of ended up what you see in a lot of this indie stuff,
So as you said, his decision to carry on with Buzzcocks, although Pete Shelley is no longer with us, sadly, and obviously John Marr is in the Outer Hebrides playing around with cars and photography and the like, and druming. So it was a really good talk.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Buzzcocks play, or should I say Buzzcocks play, not the Buzzcocks?
No.
Yeah, and I have actually. Yeah, I saw them in my first year at university. They played the Academy, and I was looking at the records. I think it was the first ever gig at the Academy. Yeah. So it would have been 1990. It was a great gig, I remember. Yeah, I was down the front, and I felt lucky to come out fairly unscathed, to be honest. But yeah, it was a fantastic gig.
So here we are with Jill Adams, the director of the Leatherwoods Festival. Sunday lunchtime. It's not quite over, but you're a couple of days into it.
Yeah.
How's it gone so far?
It's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, we've had increased numbers yet again, year on year, increased numbers. The hotel works really well for us, so we're able to have, you can't see it here, but we're looking over the bookshops with our bookshop partners and publishing partners, and we've had this really great vibe of people mixing and looking at the bookshops, buying their books, and then going upstairs to one of the four talks that we have running concurrently throughout the day. Friday, Saturday and Sunday. It's been busy, it's been buzzy. I know you're filming this and I've probably got big bags under my eyes, but they're bags of fun as opposed to bags of stress. It's been really great. Yeah, it's been really good.
Brilliant. Bags of Fun could have been a 70s punk band, actually, couldn't it? That's a great name.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah. I'm going to go and copyright it now, yeah.
Well, I hope the rest of it goes well.
Yeah,
Lots
thanks
to come.
very much. Yeah,
okay.
Thanks so much for coming. Yeah, thanks a lot.
So you had the pleasure of seeing the Dave Rowntree event, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think that was, for me, probably the most informative and enjoyable, really. He was interviewed by John Robb, who's always, brilliant. These sort of interviews, he's very good at putting his guests at ease, ask some really good questions, and I allowed Dave just to talk about his book of photographs, about the first tour that Blur did of the US and of Japan. And what came across there is not only, I suppose, how erudite and thoughtful Dave Rowntree is, but actually how much he cared, and he cared about his bandmates, about the band and about their experience, and also recognising how special and lucky they were to do that. And I think he's a fascinating guy. He's had such a varied career after he left the band in the first place, when it split up initially, whether it's a lawyer or politician. And for him still to sort of say that was one of the most special times in his life, and to talk about that period of innocence and wonder that they all had, going around the States on a bus together, all pals in it, and seeing what the road would throw at them. Yeah, it was a really good talk.
Yeah, sounds brilliant. And another event we went to together was Stuart Bailey. So he worked for the NME for a number of years, and he has some fantastic stories from the Britpop war that was kind of down to him in a way. Certainly the Gallagher brothers blame him for that face-off between Blur and Oasis, where Blur were releasing Country House and Oasis, what was it, Roll With It? Potentially, yeah. And Blur pipped them to it. But that was some great stories in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. And I think his was a talk that I think was fascinating on many levels, as I say, because actually, certainly you've got that, and him as a journalist trying to stoke this battle between the bands. You also had his own journey from Belfast and the difficulty of growing up in Northern Ireland in the 70s and early 80s, having to come over to London to sort of make a career, literally just with a typewriter in his bag, to become a journalist. And I think one of the things that struck me is, whilst I wouldn't say by any stretch of imagination it was easy for him to do that, because clearly he had a lot of talent, he worked really hard, but would it be possible for someone to do the same thing now, just to arrive in a city and just be given a role writing for a national paper? Obviously far fewer national music magazines out there anyway, but I mean, it was a not dissimilar story to one I've read about Paul Morley, who, based in Stockport, just went to lots of gigs and sent off reviews of gigs, probably to NME, and then out of that was able to get a gig with it permanently himself, and built a really successful writing career as well. So I think there's that bit was really quite interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the events I went to, hotel, that sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? Outside the Inside Hotel, for the second day of Louder Than Words Festival, which has been great so far. And this sort of festival wouldn't be such a success without all the amazing volunteers that work behind the scenes. And I'm delighted to be joined by Alice, who is a volunteer at the festival. Hi, Alice.
Hello.
And would you like to tell us what you're up to at the festival?
I'm just shooting content for their social media page at the minute. So I'm going into all the different rooms and getting videos and photos of all the people who are performing and speaking about their book.
Well, that sounds fantastic. And which social media platforms are you targeting?
We're just looking at Instagram mainly at the minute. So if you go onto the Louder Than Words Fest Instagram account, you can see some of the types of things that we're getting up to.
Well, that sounds brilliant. And how have you found the festival so far?
It's really good. It's a really good experience for me to be at an event like this, to work on my social media skills and putting content out. And it's also really nice to listen to a group of different people speak about the books that they've written, and also meet a group of people who are also volunteering too.
So another really interesting event that I attended was hosted by Simon Morrison, who is a journalist, academic in the music industry. And there was a kind of a round table of people, academics, DJs, journalists, photographers, editor on Silent Radio, the Manchester Music Review website. And they were discussing how to get into music journalism these days, so giving some great tips on how to do that. And then the discussion went on to discuss the impact of AI in music journalism, which was really interesting. Obviously, it got me thinking about how 4 Tracks Good is going to be affected by AI in the future. And one thing Simon mentioned, that there's actually more articles on the internet now written by AI than there are by humans, which is astonishing. And obviously there's a rise of AI generated music. There's things on Spotify now which people actually know are AI and are enjoying. Yeah, it was a fascinating discussion, and I think we came out of it fairly optimistic, certainly for the near term, but I guess nobody knows where it's taking us, do they? So what was really nice at the event, there was a nice bookstore, wasn't there? And some of the authors behind the books obviously were speaking at the festival, and some were just there to sell the books, promote the books. And we met a couple of really great authors, didn't we? First one was Simon Taylor, and I bought his book, which you can probably see here, which is a collection of photographs that he took at Manchester gigs.
And also, we bumped into photographer Simon Taylor. How are you doing, Simon?
I'm all right, thank you very much.
And you've got your book here, fantastic book, Manchester Photographed. Tell us a bit about that.
It's called Framed, and it's a 5-year period which encapsulates the Manchester period in chronological order. So you get the bands as they break in, as they break, and then going on to the big stages. And of course, the jewel in the crown is my name's on the back of this album.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book. It really is a beautiful book.
We put a lot of effort into it, so it was all done in the lockdown. 30-year-old negatives dug out of a drawer and put it together, and that's it really. It's well worth a look at if you wish to buy it. That's the Manchester moment.
Yeah, really interesting guy. Obviously, he was on the store with Jed, of course, who and I bought his book as well yesterday. Sold very well.
Jed Duffy, and who's got so much knowledge about factory records.
Stockholm Monsters, but yeah, I mean, he's right at the heart of everything, really. So walking around the Loutham Words Festival, it's always amazing. They're really interesting people you bump into. And here's Jed Duffy. Good afternoon. Good to see you.
Good to see you. How are you doing?
Very good. And what are you doing here at the festival?
I'm here flogging this. I think this is a book that everyone should buy. It's called Factory Fairy Tales, and it's the story of growing up in Manchester in the 70s, getting into music, getting into football, seeing how violent and how rough it was, working in all the punk clubs, joining the band, being on factory records, touring with New Order, and many other things besides that.
That sounds a fascinating book. I've bought a copy. Gary's bought a copy. You need to buy one too.
And you bought a couple of the books there?
Yeah, so one of the talks that I really enjoyed was the interview with Richard Jobson, ex-Skids, TV presenter, author, and yeah, I bought a couple of his books actually. So Dead Souls, a lot of this is sort of based around his own reminiscences of being in the band, but also what happened after that as well, and that's really interesting. And I think his most recent novel, The Kreuzberg Sonata, set in Kreuzberg, which obviously is formerly East Berlin, very cool part of the city. So yeah, we're looking forward to reading that. And again, it was lovely to meet him as well, and he gave us a few words as well, didn't he?
He certainly did, yes. Yeah, really nice. And yeah, I'm sure you'll look forward to reading those.
Who's Richard Jobson? What brings you to Manchester and Loutham Words?
Well, I've heard many positive things about it. Very exciting people to have here, and I was very honoured to be invited by the mighty John Robb, Blackpool's own Mr. Visigoth.
I thought that was me, But anyway, there's two of us. That's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, your book's supposed to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to reading it. Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a wonderful festival, and I'm just kind of slowly getting into it now.
And just to finish off, you had the pleasure of doing some voluntary work.
Yeah, I did. Right, there you go.
Show us your wares, Neil. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
And actually, it's something I've really enjoyed doing. I volunteered, some people know, at the Folk Festival in March. And we did a session on Friday, yesterday and today. Did a bit of social media today with the kids. And I think for events such as this, I think it's really important for the city to be able to host important cultural events, but inevitably they need a pretty willing team of volunteers to make them operate. And actually what I've learned is, by speaking to a number of the other volunteers, is the number of opportunities around the city to volunteer. Like someone I was speaking to today volunteers at the Arriva sort of centre as well, and he said that's really enjoyable. You get to choose where you want to help, and you get discount on various bits and pieces, and many other similar opportunities around the city. So yeah, I feel really glad I did it. I really enjoyed it. Got a free pass for the weekend, but yeah, hopefully helped in some way to make the event the success that undoubtedly it was. Yeah. Hi, so we're here with John, one of the directors of Loutham Words. How's it gone so far?
I think really good. I think people always say this, but it's potentially possibly the best weekend. I think, practical things have had the most people coming to it. I think we've had a really good run of guests, quite a different kind of guests on, but quite a lot of people can sell the events out, which is kind of good. In the practical level, they're not the important thing. I mean, the important thing is having even that little room there, the small room. It's good to have like really quirky things that maybe people don't go to so much, but it's just good to have them there, isn't it? Yeah.
I think some of the smaller stories, even when I went to Dave Rowntree last night, he was obviously very famous, but actually his project's not that well known, his photography project, but it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's really good, the book, and it's in a way it's actually a really good documentation of the early part of the bands, and proof you don't have to write it down. You could just see it in the pictures, can't you? Yeah. It is just a bunch of skinny kids on a jolly jape, isn't it? Like an endless world tour. Yeah. Thinking it's the most amazing. Your eyes like, wow, look at that. Yeah. We're having a great time. The pictures are like that, aren't they? They look so young, don't they? Those pictures. Yeah.
You wouldn't equate them
because he's taking the pictures. He's not actually in any of the pictures, is he? So you can't see how young he looks as well. Although he always looked quite old, didn't he, Dave? Yeah.
Well, we had a discussion going home about that's his narrative. I wonder if there's a competing narrative somewhere where he's hanging out the back of a bus somewhere.
Yeah, of course there is. I mean, everyone's got a different version of the same story, haven't they? Yeah.
Well, that's brilliant. And we've got a fantastic lineup till this afternoon as well, so I hope it goes well. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Thoroughly enjoyed it, and look forward to next year. So it was spread across 3 days. You can buy tickets for the individual events, or you can buy a wristband that gets you into the weekend, or a day pass as well. But I'm really looking forward to next year.
Yep, definitely, and intrigued by who will be watching next year.
I hope you enjoyed that, and get yourself to Louder Than Words Festival next year.